Yeah, yeah. This is gonna be cool. Pull my finger. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Farts are cool. Dude, so like I was asking if I have like a choice in what I can be on this planet, as if there was some thing or things that would make me question if I myself have any choice. And so like this shirt, it's like a black metal shirt. And right away, like I was thinking, like maybe I shouldn't mess with that because where black metal has went, and so I look it up, like because I can tell right away, like this isn't a band shirt, and it's saying something else, and so I look it up, and then it's like a goth and metal site that has like also like pictures of Jesus and stuff, and I'm trying to like figure out like how I'm supposed to be something if these other things just happen that pretty much are the reason for everything. It's like so I'm still trying to figure it out. Is it actually like a choice game or a rail based game? And then what is happening, because the forced interactions and stuff point to that I shouldn't trust what's going on. Like, obviously, a lot of stuff does that. Like, where you're born into a pedophile child mutilation ritual for people who have colonized the world. And then you got all that, and you look at everything that's going on. And when you're in my shoes, you have these other things going on, like people who've tried to kill you, like people have tried to take your life repeatedly, and in all sorts of ways. Like, okay, so we have a new person doing what the old people have always done. They're like strict bots with strict programming. And it's weird how I would have people who are like telling me I can't do anything, telling me I must play some role as not just any role. It's like the person who saves them and protects them, and the person who ignores that there's 24 different religions, all ran by the same people, and I don't consider myself part of this nation here. So realizing that it appears in the map that every place that's been colonized, they have their own little special thing. So, for example, of what I'm saying right there is people say, pray to God. And I say, which God? Because they have 24 of them, at least. There's like 8 or 9 famous ones. And apparently only one group has the intelligence to write a book or create a God. Or is it they have the sickness that allows them to go around doing things like raping children and telling people to worship them, to legalize it, and things like that. You see, like it's real hard to see the answers, because what I'm being told and shown are two separate things, and I can clearly see like the humans might not be all there most of the time. So like in 2020, they just kind of disappeared for a while in some areas, especially. But so I guess for some reason, somewhere along the lines, someone somewhere along the lines wants me to say I'm God, and that that doesn't work because lots of stuff doesn't happen. So me not being illiterate like people were before the year 2002, when everyone magically learned literacy so they could come on the computer after donating all those billions of dollars. Who would have known? Trillions of dollars we had to pay for literacy, and all we had to do was invent the internet and tell them to get on AOL, and they could learn how to read. Who could have guessed that was the key to it? That's weird. I didn't. I never thought that would be connected at all. Like, hey, like, that's cool though. You can have stuff like that. We should invent the in her shell, and then we can say the in her shell teaches people math. So now they can all do math. Wouldn't that be cool? I mean, wow, it's so important, isn't it? I mean, technically, maybe, yeah, but not to me, right? So, so I looked this up, right? And it's linked to all that stuff. And my memories pretty much are of not liking what I'm pushed to do. A lot of what I'm pushed to do by these people is kind of been like preventing me from doing anything my whole life. Like, let's face this, for example, when the bots started drugging me when I was like 8, what's their excuse for that? Their excuse was because I don't pay attention to them. Because what happens is I go to school and I've done all my homework and I have done everything in the class and pass every test, either the first or second or third highest in every test in class. And I don't really need to hear them. But at the same time, they're doing a lot of weird things, like trying to take me back to the caveman ages with them. And I think it's like the writing thing. It didn't even invent certain people till like 30 years after I was born or something. Because I had never met any of those people. And they all lied about who they were to get around me. So even when I see them online now, I'm obviously very skeptical. Although I did meet one girl who was doing one little thing. Like, once I was 30, things started to change. It's weird. Then they started sending me people who had maybe one thing to offer. I can't necessarily prove there is more than one. And even that, like, when the humans look at me with those weird looks, like they're not supposed to be there, I still feel, like it's like a hired actor or something. So maybe they could actually find an actor who can act well. And I actually thought I was around a person who did one thing I liked, had one personality trait you would look for in a friend. So, yeah, it looks like they're like, pressing that agenda there, which is odd because like all my interactions with that are like positive. So we have like people doing pedophile rituals out here, and that's not even like my problem is pedophiles. Like when I'm born, dealing with pedophiles and people who mutilate children. I'm not sure, like, what word describes something more disgusting than a pedophile, but there it is. And no one's coming at me like, oh, we're bots, we don't even have children, you don't need to worry about the children. That's just a waste of time. No one's saying that. So, according to what's happening in the storyline here, I can't go around and make up that type of stuff. So, and then they got the whole Bible that's teaching you what I suspect is going on in this world, where these people are just raping their way into other people's lives to destroy them, which is part of their Bible to do that. And I'm not a big fan of racism either. So when I pick up a book and I see that it starts with our race is the best and this and that, and then most, if not all, their actions seem to be geared towards that, and learning all the other stuff too, like people lying about who they are. I'm talking like outside of sexually, like I've been forced to have relationships, non-sexual, thankfully, with other people I haven't had other relationships with. So when I see that, I can assume that people are lying about things like who they are and stuff. They don't look like the people they claim to be. And they'd be like, oh, Santa Claus is coming and stuff. And Santa Claus came yesterday. And I'm stuck mentally because I shouldn't even have to explain it. You see what I'm saying? There's a problem here. Like, you don't have to explain to someone, why if I went around talking about seeing Bigfoot all the time, that no one would want to be around me, because if you found someone who wanted to be around you, if you did that, that's probably not going to be the most positive being you've ever met as far as relationships go. Either they're just not too concerned with looking around and learning things on the earth, or they're doing these things on purpose, which is kind of odd because their books do say that that's happening, that there are definitely people saying there are things that aren't, and that includes like talking about things that don't exist, trying to convince people of stuff like that too. So these are like continued patterns here with this thing on the planet. Like whatever, obviously we got some bots amongst us. I'm not sure how many, but we have the videos of them all syncing up on TV, and we have the people I meet in real life who teleport across the map, and or in shapeshift, unless the game's just generating new characters and stuff. I don't even think like I'm allowed, like, okay, so I'm not even allowed to talk about what I want to, am I? Like, I've had like people stab me for saying things they don't like, and people get real violent over that. Like, there are people, the Arabs, supposedly these wannabe white people tell me that The Arabs will throw you off a building if you insult the Prophet Muhammad. And these other people, I'm not sure how much they like questioning their little manual for destruction. So I can't say for sure. I generally don't like argue with them, but I know as like the personality trait in 1 or 2 times maybe I have that it could end up being the same way. You know, you do have people out here who shouldn't be in your lives, stabbing you when you say you don't want to be around them. When you finally say the words you've been holding in since the day you met them, that you don't want to be around them. You know, that's weird. That's why we had to test. Not that in specific. It's more like just the fact that all of them were that same way, where I have a couple questions I ask people, and that's it. People lie and get to stay longer than they should. And so I choose my own people. And what happened, well, we actually got to see them separating us. And we had kind of assumed that there was a chance that was happening before, because things would happen whenever you would meet someone you actually had a chance of liking who they are. So that's, you know, there's a lot of weird stuff. It feels like I'm being set up and manipulated. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff in this world not happening. So they would be lying, right? I mean, they're the ones teleporting across the map. I don't do that. They're the ones who have my personal information. And the only reason I know other people's personal information is because I'm just repeating the same stuff that I see someone else do. That's really the only reason I can think of. I look at a person, I'm like, oh, look at that person. They're heading out to get some food again. Fucking fat ass, you know, whatever. I bet you they're going to their car to go home and sleep. I'm not right, because like during those times I'm being filled with who are those gods in those other nations that don't look like these people? I don't know their names, but there we go. I have to follow those people. What a waste. What a waste. Yeah, see, it's like, if I were really God, then we should have suicide pills on this shelf by now, like cyanide and stuff, so I can escape the people talking to me about that stuff. See, it doesn't happen. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world, but I don't know, like, okay, well, maybe I do know there is a comet coming 10 times the size of the sun, and it's going to solve all the world's problems. So I'm wrong. I'm wrong, because that is coming. Even though I never said the words, it's not coming. Definitely not as many times as I said it needs to. So yeah, this is great though. Like, I'm like supposed to play along with some real fucked up individuals and shit. Because the cheeseburger masters say I should. That's not a passive aggressive manipulation and threats and blackmail I'm reading, is it? Sure, sure is weird that I was forced to take classes on passive aggressive manipulation as if it's the only thing in the world I need to learn. I don't think I had been forced to go to school for like 15 years before being forced to learn that. And then I'm not even sure the point, because I knew, like, I already knew what was going on. You know, I didn't know there was a word. I didn't care there was a word for it. And as a living being, I'm not one thing that sits in a box and can never change. So it was never like useful to learn it. Pretty sure that was before I got stabbed, saying I wanted away from the passive aggressive manipulation. Not in those words. I was being real vagina-fied. But hey, these people are like linked to some serious shit. Like, you guys want to see the video? Whoever these people are. That's weird that humans talk to me about my private life. That would mean they know. You know, people are trying to prevent me from doing anything of value. And their little bitch asses run around with this, oh, don't repeat what we do or we'll do it again. I didn't tell you to suck children's dicks and play with them in the first place. Like, only you can be that disgusting. If I have an enemy, especially back then, I would have taken down Goliath. If, no, I guess I didn't. Did I? There's definitely at least maybe a few there that needed that. But here I am, here living beings are stuck on this planet. Like, not allowed to do anything because these Christians and their people are the main driving force behind enslavement and genocide and terror. And they want me to worship them. It's ignorance. I don't need your gang. I don't even like gangs. Gangs are for pussies. Well, speaking of gangs, I've had a hell of a lot of those in my life, haven't I? But I don't need them. I wasn't like, oh, this is going to be so cool when you invent a gang and send them to talk to me and shit. I definitely had other thoughts, but there was this thing here. It kind of prevents things from happening. So I'm still under the assumption that they can never stop lying. So they can never start telling the truth. So we shouldn't really trust them. But I'm not sure, like, if I have to. You know, if I am the player, the living player in this game, then I'm being forced to have these walls built in the road. Yeah. Seems pretty suspect to me. Of course, it never had anyone tell me that. Because they're too busy talking about Santa and fishing. You can even see the fish in this game just disappear and stuff. Stuff just disappears. It's like pick it up off the ground and it's gone. Well, this is gonna be awesome, dude. Oh, what happens? I get to fucking finally die and escape everyone once I start playing along with the game or something. Wow, that was excellent. I got to come play some fucking 400,000 hour game just to learn that everyone's trash and I have to sell out myself to I couldn't even find people who were on the outside of that stuff. That was so weird. They had this one girl come into my life, and she started like taking me to church. Like she wanted to go to church, so I went with her. And then she bails out on that, like it's just an attempt to force me to go to church. Anyways, we do have these other people always appear when that happens. Like the game is. I just see my thoughts now, but couldn't back then. There's something clearly it did, but it picked and chose. I don't think there was anyone of value back then. It looks like